San Antonio's Sports Center.
Well, the Celtics took game one from the Pacers in overtime, 133-128. Game two will be tomorrow night. Tonight, it's game one of the West Finals as Luka Doncic and the Mavs are in Minnesota to take on Anthony Edwards and the T-Wolves. Tip-offs at 7:30, and it's a game you can catch here on San Antonio Sports Star right after extra innings starting at 7. And the Astros fell 2-1 in the rubber game.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pleasure wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, gang? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for joining me. However you may be joining me, whether that is on 94.1 FM, if you happen to be joining via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you are on our YouTube channel, we always appreciate you there as well. Go to YouTube, like, subscribe. You can watch the show. You can comment along with the show. All the comments. I try and be as interactive as possible throughout the show with the listeners down there in the bullpen here on Extra Innings. That's right, the Bullpen Bandits, as Fred Record says, live and in effect. I appreciate everybody for stopping through. It is time to get to it. Lots going on today. We have obviously game one of the Eastern Conference Finals last night, which, by the way, it's about time. I feel like this NBA playoffs has been, while the series have been close, the games have not. Even game 7 between the Timberwolves and Nuggets, Minnesota had control of that game for most of it. They ended up winning by like 10. It wasn't as compelling late as it was with this Indiana and Boston game. And that felt like playoff basketball finally. That felt real. And regardless of who the dog in the fight that you have, whether you like the Celtics, whether you're cheering for the small market, maybe you just want games like that. That was phenomenal to be able to see a game, get down to the dirty of it late, back and forth, 5 points, game on the line, plays being made, mistakes being made that helped other players make plays when it mattered most, like Jaylen Brown and his 3 at the end to tie it and send it into overtime. Jason Tatum's late 3 in overtime that helped put the Celtics up for good. Like that felt like a real playoff game finally, when I don't feel like we've had a whole bunch of these games. And I don't have a dog in the fight one way or the other. I like the Celtics. I think they're the best team remaining. I know a lot of people don't trust them. I know last night doesn't go a long way in alleviating any of that fear for the Celtics and them not being able to close something out. But Indiana's a good team. Indiana is a much better team than a lot of people gave them credit for when they were taking on the Knicks. They were a good team throughout the season. They got Pascal Siakam, which is a great fit for them, which gives them some interior toughness. I like this Pacers team. I hope this series continues to go the way it did, but there were mistakes down the stretch. And Rick Carlisle, you got to appreciate a coach that will take the blame for his players.
This loss is totally on me. With 10 seconds in regulation, we should have just taken the timeout, advanced the ball, and found a way to get it in and made a free throw or two and ended the game. But it didn't happen, and we made some other mistakes, but our guys just need to concentrate on fighting the way they fought in this game from start to finish, and we'll be back Thursday.
I appreciate him taking the responsibility, but a lot of the fault falls on the players as well. Dribbling the ball off your knee, late turnovers that they had. I know he had a timeout that he could spare. Sure. And then there is the 60,000 foot view of everybody watching from home. Now, I did not have an issue, and maybe you do. Maybe this is you at your core. Maybe this is other people at their core, and I can't wait to speak with a hoophead like Rob Thompson here coming up in about 5-6 minutes when he joins the show. I know LeBron James tweeted out, that's why you foul, so you don't give Jaylen Brown the opportunity to tie the game and send it to overtime late. And it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because it is 50-50. If you foul there and they go to the line, make two, and you go to the line after they foul and you miss 1 or 2 and all of a sudden they hit a 3 to win it, like, you've lost again. You've lost the opportunity again because of hindsight. I understand the principle behind it, but you can lose a game as easily as you can the other way. And that was only to tie it and send it to overtime. You still had the opportunity to go into overtime and win that game. And if you break it down even further, it's a great defense. It was a great shot, period. Let's say that you try and get the foul before anything happens. Okay. You get the foul. They make their free throws. It's a 1-point game. There's still time on the clock. You inbound it. They foul. We play this back and forth game. Yes, you turn it into a multi-possession, but you've got to make your free throws as well. So I understand the principle behind fouling and not allowing them that opportunity. But you gotta give it to Jaylen Brown for making that opportunity. What happens if you go for the foul and he gets the shot up while you're trying to foul him? All of a sudden, you're giving him a 4-point play because of continuation or a 4-point opportunity, or you get 3 free throws to try and tie it up. For me, let the ball play out, let it happen. The Western Conference Finals comes up tonight right after extra innings with Pledger, and I don't have a great feeling about this for the Dallas Mavericks. I would like the Mavericks to win. Luka, Kyrie, there's something there. Luka stole some extra rest. We'll see how healthy he actually looks. But Minnesota's defense has looked legit through most of the playoffs. And I think that's going to be a difficult thing for the Mavericks to overcome as a team because they are very heavily reliant upon Luka Doncic. They go as Luka goes, maybe as Kyrie goes, but this is new for Minnesota. This is their first time in the conference finals since KG played for the franchise. It's been a hot minute. None of these players on the team have been in this situation with this team. This is brand new. for every single one of them. Can they overcome the inexperience? Because the Mavs have it. Just a couple of years ago, the Mavs were in the conference finals. Luka's been to a conference finals. Kyrie's been to multiple conference finals and has big game experience in conference finals, NBA finals, closeout games, big shots to win these types of games, including NBA finals and championships. Like, they have that experience where Minnesota does not. Are they going to be calmer early in this series? Are they going to be able to get off to faster starts because of it? Are they going to be able to ride the calmness of some of their stars that have been here while Minnesota, the moment may be too big? I don't know. I don't think so, because defense travels, and that's something you can usually hang your hat on. The offense will come and go, as we kind of saw in the Denver series. But that defense, it's something you can hang your hat on, and I think it's something that Minnesota can hang their hat on. And that's why I feel that they are the team that feels best equipped to win this series, more so than the Mavericks, who are so reliant, the way kind of the Nuggets were in one player, and Nikola Jokic, to kind of orchestrate everything, points, assists, getting everything going. That is Luka Doncic. And will they be able to shut him down and alter this series in that way? We'll find out starting tonight at 7, a game you can catch right here on your home for the NBA playoffs, San Antonio Sports Star. And we'll talk more about it next with Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle, as he will join me next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, who jumps out to a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals?
OTAs continue while Aaron Rodgers is limping around as Mike is showing up. And when a CD get paid, so much to talk about, so little time. Party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MBA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Neither guy wore a seatbelt. One guy got a ticket. One guy didn't. The same 2 guys drove home. One guy wore a seatbelt. One guy didn't. One guy made it home. The guy not wearing his seatbelt didn't. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
Looking for a new show to dive into? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time, like the full season of FX's epic limited series Shogun, FX's new international spy thriller, The Veil, starring Emmy and Golden Globe winner Elizabeth Moss, and don't miss the all-new crime series Under the Bridge, inspired by shocking true events and starring Riley Keough and Lily Gladstone. It's all new, and it's streaming right now on Hulu.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Brakes? We can save you 15% on that. We have OE quality Duralast brake pads and rotors in stock, ready for pickup or delivery. We also have calipers, brake fluid, tools, and anything else you'll need to do the job right. When you get Duralast pads and rotors together, you'll save 15%. It's just part of what makes us America's #1 brakes destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Hey, it's Rob Thompson here for my favorite game app. It is Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Heck, I'm just one of 3 million active users. They're the easiest to play. They're the most exciting way to play your daily fantasy sports. And it's unlike other apps. On Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You're a fantasy player. You know when it's more. You know when it's less. Up to 100 times your money according to how you play it. $1,000 on basketball, hockey, and college basketball entries. Today is the time to play. You can turn $10 into big money quick. The biggest moments in professional basketball are happening right now, and it's no fun unless you're playing. Go to Prize Picks right now and remember the code ALAMO for your first deposit match of up to $100. That's the code ALAMO. Prize Picks. Fantasy, you're playing already. Go win. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the code ALAMO, and up to $100 deposit match is coming. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 125 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. No application fee if you apply by May 31st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Okay, I'm ready to record my jewelry store's new radio spot. I got a great script that really goes after Diamonds Direct and how they're nothing special and how we can match their price. Great stuff.
Oh, great. We have this new technology that bleeps out any false claims, so it saves us time with editing. So you can start anytime.
Okay, here goes. When you visit our jewelry store, we'll guarantee direct. Our diamonds come straight. We have cutters. And, hey, what the?
The hard truth is that other jewelry stores simply can't do what Diamonds Direct can. Diamonds Direct has special relationship with De Beers, international connections, and virtually unlimited buying power. The result is true direct importer pricing, exceptional quality, and up to 30 times the diamond selection you find at other stores.
I can't believe this thing won't let me say.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get more truth at diamondsdirect.com.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me. And like promised, as Goldfinger123 says, on the bullpen, hell yeah, Big Time Rob. That's right, Big Time Rob. Rob Thompson from the Morning Huddle joining me on the buyer line. I love being able to pick a basketball guy's mind about things. And last night, first and foremost, I just want to get your thoughts on last night's game because that felt like one of the few playoff games that I actually got to see this postseason. It felt like a playoff game. It had the intensity of a playoff game. It came down to the end. There was drama, all of the great, like we've had good series that have gone 7 games, but the games themselves have been blowouts one way or the other. It felt all the way through that 7-game series. And we hadn't had any playoff feeling games until last night. And last night, to me, felt playoff worthy.
It didn't start out that way, did it? I mean, 12-0 run looked like it was going to be put to bed quickly, and this was going to be not even a gentleman's sweep. It was going to be fast. But, yeah, Celtics went Celtic, and they let the Pacers hang around despite their mistakes. It was a great basketball game. It's unfortunate the way that it ended because it wasn't, I don't think the Celtics won the game. The Pacers lost. And when you're at home, sitting and twiddling your thumbs for a while. I think it took them a while to get the rust knocked off. And, man, the Pacers can score with the best of them. Good to better, better to best. Spurs fans should love the Pacers. They're just the only problem with it. is they're stupid. I mean, the Pacers just make Carlisle was stupid last night, just dumb mistake after dumb mistake. Unforced errors will kill you, and they're not going to have that kind of shot again. So not only did they blow a golden opportunity, but they gave them the Celtics a chance to rest Porzingis yet another couple of days. So it played in perfectly for what the Celtics chased. You know, Jaylen Brown got a career-defining moment. Jason Tatum got a closeout shot, and they got to run to the locker room. But I guarantee you, they kissed their lucky stars and held on to those Boston Clovers because they were lucky last night.
Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle. Catch him every weekday morning from 6 to 10 right here on San Antonio Sports Star as he and AJ Hoffman get you started with your day. And you talk about all the boneheaded mistakes, and there were a lot of them: dribbling off the knee, the turnover by Siakam, the inbounds. We've had a lot of them. But one thing, and this is why I love talking to basketball guys, where do you stand? Because LeBron James tweets immediately after the game, that's why you foul in that situation after Jaylen Brown nails that three to send the game to overtime. Where do you stand on that? Because I was okay with letting that play out the way it did, as long as you don't foul. Live and die with the shot, especially with a shot that you don't believe in a clutch team being clutch in clutch moments and clutch situations in the playoff. That's kind of the knock on the Celtics. They fall apart in big moments in the playoffs.
Well, you just answered your question. A couple things. The schools of thought in stopping the clock or letting things play out. Man, I've talked to a lot of great coaches who completely agree with the idea of what Carlisle went with, although he was the first to admit that he probably should have called a timeout after the made shot to advance the ball, and that kind of escaped him. But, you know, in my mind, as the play was coming, I just felt like you've got to foul. Now, if it's an active shooter, you got to tackle that dude. You can't, commit a flagrant, but you cannot let the ball get close to the rim. I mean, you can't let the and 1-3 beat you. So there's that. The fear of coaches from inexperienced players is don't touch the shooter because you never know what could happen. We could lose the game right here. So I get it if I'm coaching a young team. These are pros. And Siakam handled the situation absolutely perfectly wrong. Not only did he step in and nearly foul when he wasn't supposed to, he didn't think, but then he put his arms down and let the open shooter take a shot for a second. I mean, what are you doing? And keep in mind, they traded for Pascal as a championship dude. He was supposed to show up in Indiana and be the mentor to these young kids. He knows what the championship run looks like, and he dumbed it up. So I'm all about stopping the clock and forcing Jaylen Brown to hit free throws. He probably would have hit all three, but I'd had a chance to stop the clock and communicate to my team what I wanted, option A, option B, or maybe get a chance for an assistant coach or my quality control dude to come and say, hey, coach, call a timeout, advance the ball. So I think in hindsight, I think he would probably have done it different, even if he didn't know the outcome. But I do believe they woke up this morning, and Carlisle has to, and serious errors. And when you combine that with 22 turnovers, dude, you're not going to win a game in November, much less a game in late May.
He is Rob Thompson. As we shift now to the West Finals, which you can catch game one right here on San Antonio Sports Star, starting right after extra innings. Where do you lean on this Mavs-Wolves series? Because my initial thought is Timberwolves, and I think their defense travels. And as one-dimensional as Dallas feels with as Luka goes, as that team goes, I know they stole some rest for Luka to possibly get him healthier. I know they've got experience where the Timberwolves do not when it comes to being in the conference finals, and then the championship experience of Kyrie Irving. But I don't know if that's enough to overcome how good defensively Minnesota is.
I'd agree with everything you said, but I watched Minnesota lose 3 consecutive games in an embarrassing fashion. I think the primary issue was Mike Conley's health, but that's a team that can lose its way because they are young. And Mike Conley being the only, old man, the old OG there, although I believe he's cursed, Mike Conley being the only living cursed basketball player as the first Supermax signee. I think that was one of the variables that got in their way. The thing about Dallas is they're not the Mavericks we remember from even, early April, because as we watch PJ Washington and Derek Lively grow into these roles, those aren't the guys that were making mistakes and missing shots and not getting the offensive rebound and not handling the high pick and roll the way Lively has really grown into it. So this team is not what we remember. So they're more talented. And the thing about Luka, you talked about his health. Luka's game is not predicated on athleticism at all. That dude can be banged up with gauze pads and knee pads and elbow pads on every moving joint, and it's not going to affect his game. He's like Joker. He's like a judo player playing basketball. He influences your body. He doesn't do much. He makes you go weird ways because of the way he can manipulate the ball. So he doesn't need to be healthy. So he's going to be battered and bruised. It's going to be how the games are reffed. I give the savvy edge to the Mavs. Kyrie Irving really hasn't played his cards yet, and I do think that there's something left there with Kyrie. I give him a puncher's chance, James. I think this is a 7-game series. At least it smells that way to me.
Wow. Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle. Catch him and AJ Hoffman every weekday morning from 6 to 10. It's going to be very interesting to see, as we're about a month away-ish from the draft and then free agency, what the Spurs offseason. We can't underscore enough what the offseason may look like and how important it is to the future of this team as we try and get to where a lot of these teams still playing are and get back to being relevant this time of year here in San Antonio. And we've seen a lot of names thrown around to this point. We've seen Donovan Mitchell. We've seen Trae Young. We've seen DeJounte Murray. We've seen Darius Garland, even in most recent reports.
Mm-hmm. That's not going to stop, James.
Which way do you want this team to go? And if it is one of these names we're hearing, who's the best fit?
Well, the good news is it's going to be hard to screw this up. It really will be. I think our first sign will be how they handle the draft. And, who do they draft it for and who do they draft at 8? Is it a short-term fix? Is it fixing a long-term need for a guy that might not, be ready for a couple of years, like one of those Euro types that might fall? Is it going to be a guy that's seasoned and ready, like a Dalton Connect at 8 that can come in and deliver something immediately? And I think that'll give us an idea what the offseason or the rest of the summer will look like after the draft and the free agency begins. The latest rumors with Darius Garland and Stephen Castle out of UConn probably make the most sense to me. But I'll tell you this. As far as what the free agency will look like this summer, I think it's probably about a 20% shot that we see something legitimately, franchise changing happen now. There's really not a lot of need for the Spurs to make any kind of deal. I think that the first real movement we're going to see as far as where the Spurs are going will be the trade deadline at the end of the season and in the middle of the season. I think that'll be the first sign, unless they get a Godfather offer or they're angling for. It's all in the works right now, but I just don't expect much. So what I expect is Pop's going to draft that Topic kid. He's going to draft a point guard of the future, which will signify that they're going to have to go get a seasoned point guard, whether it's a starter or not. And I think we're going to see that 8 pick kind of float around, and the Spurs are going to play catch can and have 4 or 5 guys kind of sitting there because this is such a random draft. The number 2 guy on our board might be the 10 guy by the time draft gets around, just from a workout. So I don't expect a whole lot, James. And I think they're not going to screw it up, but they're not going to do anything to really kind of thrust them into the playoff picture other than play-in. This is where I think that they logically expect to be next year.
Now, if it is Nikola Topic and you want to bring in a veteran point guard, that there are at least some possibilities for the Spurs in terms of veteran point guards that are going to be available, like Trey Jones' brother, Tyus Jones, who could be a veteran point guard that can fill in for you as you bring Topic along, or you could also bring in a guy who's playing in the playoffs right now, the guy that you said is cursed, and Mike Conley, who could fill that
Conley
void.
That type would probably be more likely. I would look for anybody that's heading into their second contract. I'm looking for a point guard that's heading into their third. that knows the league, that is, we know exactly what to expect from the guy, that will show up and understand the role that he's going to be given, and have him around for just a couple of years. And those guys, there's 20 of those guys. It's just a matter of, do you want to catch this guy on his way up or on his way down as far as the trajectory of his career? And they'll find enough of those guys. I mean, heck, you can go to Europe and find a point guard that can do that for you. You really can. So I don't think that's going to be a pressing issue as far as finding the guy. It's just a matter, how long do we expect the commitment to be required? How far is Topic away from being a starter if he is indeed the guy they draft? Is that jump shot closer than further away? And I think they're going to give themselves that year to find out. And, as much as I didn't like the Oklahoma City idea of just, we're not going to get any older at all, we're just going to draft. I'm starting to agree with that. I like the way, I think players have a little bit different mentality than they did just a couple of years ago. And because there's so many other young players in the league, that the seasoning process doesn't have to be as long as it used to be. I think Denver was the last of the old generation where it took you 4 years, from beginning to end, to really find yourself in a conference finals. And I think Oklahoma City and to some extent Minnesota have showed us, you can turn this thing pretty quick if you draft the right young guys and use your salary cap money in a very appropriate way, in ways that you might not expect, like Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Naz Reid really shouldn't work all that well. But they made a bold move, and they ended up with the sixth man of the year, the defensive player of the year, and what could have been, in a lot of eyes, one of the turnaround players of the year. So they swung for it and did it quick. So I don't think we need to wait the way that Oklahoma City thought they were going to have to wait. And I think that they can get themselves in a place a little bit quicker. But we won't know until after that first draft pick is pulled at number 4 here in June.
And I can't let you go without talking a little bit of Dallas Cowboys.
No, James, I want to hear your perspective on this. Are you on that? We got a guy who's about to be named All-NBA, and we got something that we've never seen before. Why wait? Or do you feel like we got a little bit of time and we can let things park?
I mean, I've straddled the line of go get you a guy that checks a lot of boxes, right? And
right.
There are very few guys. I know Donovan Mitchell's the sexy name right now for a lot of people. I don't want Donovan Mitchell if I'm a Spurs fan, because he forced his way out of Utah. He's possibly forcing his way out of Cleveland, and it's all an impossible attempt to get to New York, back home for him. He doesn't like small markets like Cleveland, and San Antonio would be no different than Cleveland or Utah in that sense. I can't trust giving up what it would take to get him and him be happy enough to stay long enough term for it to pay off for me eventually.
I agree with that. And in fact, if we're looking at the age and the timeline that we're looking at, I think Darius Garland is a much better option if they were going to go that route.
I like Darius Garland. I've bought him up here multiple times, but there's one guy that I truly think fits. And a lot of people think he doesn't fit because of his stature and because of his defense, but Wemby is an eraser. We've learned that as of this year. The Spurs were being, when he's off the floor, bottom 32. When he's on the floor, he erases a lot of evils for this team. So you can afford to have a Trae Young there. And Trae Young checks every box except defense. He's a willing passer. He is a lob guy that can play in the pick and roll with Wemby or the pick and pop. He is a willing distributor, and he spaces the floor all the way out to the logo. I mean, he does everything that we say this team needs. That needs floor spacing. It needs a guy that can distribute. It needs a guy that can throw lobs to a 7'4" guy. He checks every single box except defense, and Wemby checks that box for everybody else that's on the floor when they're on the floor together.
That's a lot to spend, though. I
It's
don't
a lot
dispute
to spend.
anything you said, and it would be. We'd be giving back.
But he wants to be here too.
And if the Spurs announced tomorrow that Trae was coming, and they had to sacrifice a couple of picks and probably another young guy, I don't know which one it would be. I don't think that they would have made a mistake. Like, I think the Wemby idea of being an eraser applies to a lot more than defense on the court. He's an eraser for you can make a slight tactical error in the guy that you get, but Wemby's going to be so transcendent. He might overcome any mistake you might have made as a talent scout. So it's going to be hard to screw this up. You just want to make sure that as the success comes, Wemby feels supported and, nurtured, protected, and also reinforced. You don't want him to feel like, yeah, we brought in a guy that doesn't appreciate him or is not capable of providing the space that Wemby's going to need to be the number one guy in the world, which we all know it seems, 2-3 years away.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of it's whoever you mention is divisive. J4 apparently on our bullpen right here on Extra Innings says Mitchell's the better option than Trey, and that he can't learn how to win from Trey Young. Trey Young single-handedly drug a Hawks team to the Eastern Conference Finals one year.
And the learning how to win thing, I think that applies at certain stages in development. This isn't about learning how to win right now. They got to learn how to play basketball. We'll figure out winning, as the season gets going. But as you learn how to play basketball together, you'll start winning. So yeah, I get them, learning how to win. But I think the Pacers had to go get Siakam because that's the level they were at. That they had to go get a guy who says this is how you win a championship. And the Spurs are a couple of years away from that. I think that time will come when we're going to go chase a guy like that, but we're not near that yet.
He is Rob Thompson. The last one before we get you out of here, it's, of course, OTAs, and there have been some very, very big developments that came out today from Mike McCarthy, and here's kind of a snippet. He was asked because Trey Lance has been a very hot button issue for the Dallas Cowboys this offseason because of basically the status with Dak, and we'll have some Dak sound for y'all tomorrow and everything. But Mike McCarthy said this about Trey Lance and his evaluation and his development.
In young quarterbacks, and he's no different, he just need reps. And we're trying to get him as many reps as we can throughout this offseason program, and he will take a large part of the preseason. That's the design.
So Trey Lance is designed to be getting a bunch of reps throughout the offseason, throughout the preseason. They talked about the preseason games with him ad nauseum, he said already, as they're already planning for stuff like that. Where do you stand? Because there are some people that think Trey Lance is potentially trying to be groomed to take over and be a cheaper option down the road for the Cowboys at quarterback. But I'm looking at it as the Cowboys just, how you always say fail fast with things. They can't admit that they've failed with Trey Lance. And so they are pumping every bit of asset they can into a sunk cost to try and alleviate or prove that they were right.
Well, I'll tell you, Trey must be looking pretty good in practice. I heard Dak say, I play football not so much for the money. So maybe
he'll play for free, he said.
Yeah. So maybe he's realizing that, they'll pay this cat a lot less than I need. So, no, in all seriousness, I do think that the Cowboys are hoping against hope, praying against all things holy, that he looks like the guy that we saw running around in green and yellow and not the guy we saw running around pants. The guy I remember was worthy of trading up and doing everything that San Francisco did. Now I haven't seen the cat since. So I do think it's a worthy effort. And at the very least, he needs to look good enough to be worth a fifth round pick or whatever it might have been. Although can't imagine them staying around. And, and the other side of this is he could actually have something. I mean, there is a possibility, however slight, that this is a guy that the talent evaluators that found Brock Purdy, that, I know that they went and got Garoppolo too, but they obviously saw something in the dude. And I trust the eyes that Shanahan and John Lynch have had previously. So, it's not as far-fetched as people think, but the possibility of him playing a single snap past September 1 will rely heavily on what the record is. I can see a couple of months of understudy work, and the Cowboys could very easily be under 500 by the end of October. And getting a start here and there because you got a quarterback that's at the end of his run. a contract year, Dak might not be all that eager to play on a bad football team. There might be some plantar fasciitis that takes the day. So I'm not discounting the fact that no matter how he looks in preseason, that we might not see him again in November, because it's going to get weird at the end of this year if the Cowboys have the kind of record that a lot of people expect. Running around 500 with a quarterback running out his steam and a coach running out his steam, it could get crazy. So they might better get Trey ready to play.
He is Rob Thompson. Be sure to catch him and AJ Hoffman every weekday morning from 6 to 10. Rob, as always, I appreciate the time, my friend.
Gracias, amigo. Have yourself a safe evening. We'll see everybody in the morning, 6 a.m. Get up. Goldfinger. I appreciate it, brother.
That is Rob Thompson of the Morning Huddle joining me at the Buyers Barricades guest line. They provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. They are online at buyersbarricades.com. Speaking of the Cowboys, what happened? Can Trey Lance be the answer? That plus Dak and McCarthy speaking. All of that coming up right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure, plus your phone calls, as we'll discuss. 210-656-3776, 656 ESPN if you want to be a part of the conversation. As the Cowboys, could they be doing something under all of our noses that we didn't even truly consider? We'll discuss next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Western Conference Finals on ESPN Radio.
Steps left, three, bang, 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 bang. Luka Doncic.
The Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves go head-to-head in Game 1.
If we continue to play Timberwolves basketball, it will fix a lot of problems that we may have with that team and what they do best. So I like our chances.
Game 1 of the Mavericks and Timberwolves.
Tonight, starting at 7, right here on your home for the NBA playoffs, 94.1 San Antonio Sports.
Get ready, San Antonio. Baseball Express and Team Express are hosting the event of the season. This Saturday, stop by 1003 East Nakoma for a chance to pop a balloon and get up to 100% off your purchase, up to $500. Only 250 balloons are available, so come early. Baseball Express and Team Express have gear for every sport, team uniforms, and top brand apparel. Clearance items up to 60% off. Use code CTE10 for an extra 10% off. Team Express, all sports, all the time. Visit teamexpress.com for more details.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. And 3 kids and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 125 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. No application fee if you apply by May 31st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Hey, this is Rob Thompson here from my good friends at Connecticut. You know, living in South Texas, growing up in San Antonio, it's been a great place to be because, well, we love the land, we love the people, and boy, do we love our water. That aquifer water, it makes some good sweet tea and some fine beer, but I'll tell you what comes out of the ground we do not want in our glasses, and that's where Connecticut comes in. The finest water treatment system you can get around these parts. Designed and built in the United States, it is made in America for you, San Antonio, for me. I've been a Connecticut customer for years, and now's the chance for you to be one without any risk. Call Connecticut today at 656-PURE. That's 656-PURE. And the good folks at Connecticut are going to come out to your home, put one in your house for the next 90 days. So you can find out what the rest of us already know, that we have a water softener designed and made with South San Antonio in mind. Call Connecticut today at 656-PURE. Get a Connecticut in your home for the next 90 days. You're going to be like me, a Connecticut customer. You know what you're going to do? You're going to thank me later.
ConnecticutSA.com.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Are you an oblivious person hogging the sidewalk like a large dying snail? Do people stuck behind you ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have tons of quality beds at every price. So anyone, even people like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbors said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
I'm the guy that never gives 5 stars because I never believe that anything is perfect. But I would give them 20 stars if I could.
Ernest Stellar Review belongs to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments. They came through when he badly needed relief for his aching knees, and doctors had told him that surgery was the only option.
What they're doing is cutting edge, and it really helps. And I'm a tough sell.
QC Kinetics is led by National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in this field. With 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, publishing in non-surgical natural pain treatments. These are the medical pros to trust.
I'm living my life basically pain-free from what I was dealing with. So I'm a happy camper today, no doubt about it.
QC Kinetics. Call today to see if you're a candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318.
Listen to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star on your Amazon or Google smart speaker and just say, Alexa, play 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, and the bullpen on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star. Be sure to like, subscribe. It's where you can comment along, like Daniel Batista, who asked me who I got winning tonight, Wolves or Mavs, a game you can catch right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Coming up at 7 o'clock as we get you started with the pregame. I like the Wolves in game one. Personal preference, defense. I think that while Dallas has a chance, a lot has to go right for them in order to win this. And one of those things that needs to go right is the fact that Minnesota wouldn't be able to hit the side of a barn. As far as the Dallas Cowboys, look, there's a lot that's been made of Trey Lance and what they're doing with him. And Mike McCarthy talked about Trey Lance's evaluation and development.
I mean, there's thresholds in development for every position. I mean, quarterback's no different, and Trey's no different. I mean, obviously he had a prior experience in San Francisco, so I mean that's obviously an experience that he'll always be able to draw from. And then we're involved in a different offense, and just the way the position's played, which is it's played differently for every quarterback in every organization. So my point is he's crossing the thresholds of training. I've been very, very pleased. The athletic ability is top notch. We've adjusted some things, in his. Not only his motion is, I'm going to get into specifics of that, but you can see the improvement, the timing, and in young quarterbacks, and he's no different. He just need reps, and we're trying to get him as many reps as we can throughout this offseason program, and he will take a large part of the preseason. That's the design. So him and I talk about preseason quite often because, I mean, that's what we're building towards.
So it sounds like Cooper Rush, just sit down. We know what you are. You're going to be a guy that can step in and win games, but we need to figure out what we have in Trey Lance. Showcase him during the preseason. Hopefully he plays well enough because we need to move him. We sunk a 4th round cost into this guy. It is a cost we will not get back. The rest of the quarterbacks in that draft, 6th, 7th round picks, pick swaps, late round pick swaps. Look, you look at what the potential is, and I'm trying to make sense of nonsense because I just don't understand what Jerry's doing. They're buying in, going all in, sure, whatever. If you're trying to lower figures due to poor seasons, like maybe Dak has a bad year and you don't offer him as much, right? CD. Okay, but you're hurting yourself in your championship window that you've built with this team. So you've got a bunch of players and you got a bunch of coaches all going into the final year of their deal all together for the most part. I'm trying to make sense of it. You're not spending money. Everyone is going into the final year. It's a lame duck season for a lot of people. One person who did not get a job this offseason, who has a very close relationship with Jerry Jones from what we've been told, is Bill Belichick. Are you trying to set up the deck for him to come in without having to fire Mike McCarthy after a bad year, take over, and make the roster kind of the way he sees fit? Do you want Dak? We'll keep Dak. That's fine. But you've got to make the call on that. We're not going to sink money into something that you don't want. Maybe it's a Shador Dion tandem package deal you're looking for. Maybe you're trying to trade Dak, trade CD, get some future draft picks for this coming year so that you can move up into the draft, land a Shador, move back up, a la Houston Texans, bring in a Travis Hunter as well, and have Dion set for success to just take off and run with his type of guys. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense of all. I appreciate everybody for listening tonight. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. We're about to take you right into the NBA Western Conference Finals. Mavs, T-Wolves. It's all coming up next here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Conference Finals on ESPN Radio.
Steps left, 3, bang, 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 bang. Luka Doncic.
The Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves go head-to-head in Game 1.
If we continue to play Timberwolves basketball, it will fix a lot of problems that we may have with that team and what they do best. So I like our chances.
Game 1 of the Mavericks and Timberwolves.
Tonight, starting at 7, right here on your home for the NBA playoffs, 94-1, San Antonio Sports.
If you're a man and you live in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Are you having issues rising to the occasion? Do you constantly worry about whether or not you can perform? Have you completely stopped having adult time? Is it something you just don't talk about? Guys, we have a solution. Mojo, the 100% guaranteed male enhancement pill that's fast, effective, and was designed to reignite passion, performance, and confidence in the bedroom. Yeah. Be ready at a moment's notice with the Mojo Male Enhancement Pill from Pure Line Nutrition. And for those of you who have used Mojo, check out Mojo Enduramax. Touchdown! A new formula that improves the potency and effectiveness of Mojo. Get fast results, last longer, and be the man she'll never forget. Mojo and Mojo Enduramax, 100% natural male enhancement formulas, only available at Pure Line Nutrition. Call now, 210-494-2210. That's 210-494-2210. Or visit us online at thepureline.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
You want another way to add excitement to watching the NBA